usually when I talk to other groups, I have to, oh, it's telling me it's being recorded. Okay, I'm cool with that. Hi recording. I usually have to preface this with, hey, mindfulness bell, that's not a bad thing. We're not counter-Christian, but you guys are from California. So I'm like, hey, let's bring a little hippie in here. Let's go with it. So what we're going to do first, I have my mindfulness bell app up. I'm going to have you close your eyes. And when the bell rings, we're going to breathe in really deeply. And as you breathe in, I want you to say light, love, and abundance. And as you breathe out, you're going to say release, relax, allow, and let go. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So we're going to breathe in light, love, abundance.
Abundance.
Breathe out, release,
Release.
relax,
Relax.
allow, and let
Allow.
go.
Let go.
Wonderful. Okay, so now our minds are shifted. Our brain loses track of what it's doing every 8 seconds. So sometimes it's important to do a pattern interrupt. So mindfulness bell is a great thing. I can never find the bell I've actually bought. So I have an app on my phone and I have it set up. In fact, at 8 o'clock, it will ring again to ring every 2 hours between the hours of 8 a.m. in the morning and 10 p.m. So it will, even if I can't stop what I'm doing, it will make my brain say, okay, let's take a minute and evaluate what's happening right now. So I want you to take 1 second, and I don't want you to say it out loud, but I want you to think about what your fear response is when you feel afraid or stressed. Are you fight, flight, or freeze? Just think about that for a minute. You can put it in the chat if you want. If you want to say it, you can, but just jot that down, and we're going to come back to that at the end of what I'm going to say to you. All right. Now, tonight, I'm going to talk to you about why discipline and willpower will not cut it to get it to your next goal. It's not going to work. And this is me coming to you with 20 years in Mary Kay, almost 20 years. And I'm just going to tell you right now that you can't discipline and willpower yourself to your next goal. It's not possible. The missing part is going to be your mindset. And I know that at seminar, they warn us that we've spent time in this energy bubble and it's been really good. And we're going to go home and we're going to lose our energy and momentum. And despite the fact that they tell us that we need to work on our mindset, most of us go home and try and work on discipline and willpower to get to our next goal. Year after year, after year, after year, after year, after year, after year. And we don't really address the mindset and the energy issue. And we wonder why we don't move as fast as we would like to move. And I have been working with a coach through the ICANN Institute for the last 7 years that has helped me move through a very serious block I had in terms of moving past my set point. I have a set point of where I have been comfortable. And even though I have broken through that set point, I've done it based on my fear response, which mine is fight. And that seems so great. And you know the years when you've been to seminar and you've seen the queen and she came out of nowhere and she just did amazing things and wow, oh my gosh. And do you remember that cute little Hispanic lady who was the queen of, I think, recruiting in 2019? Do you remember her? I saw her in the airport when I was leaving and I recognized her face. But what was interesting is that I could tell that despite the fact that she had accomplished this big thing, there was still a lot of fear because of the way that she was with her little son and her mother, and she was just like very fearful. I didn't even dare talk to her because I think she would have thought that this tall white lady was going to assault her. And it gave me this moment where I realized, because most of the big accomplishments that I've done in my Mary Kay career, I have accomplished through my fear response. And, when people have a fight fear response, it seems great and it seems really healthy. And it's like, whoa, she can get a lot done. But I'm here to tell you the result of getting things accomplished through your fear response and trying to discipline and will yourself is that when you finish, there's this emotional release and you feel like garbage afterwards, and the negativity does not go away. So you may be seeing people accomplish huge things, but when they do it from a place of fear, it's not going to last. It's not fulfilling, even when it's paying the bills. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to make discipline and willpower work for you, and how to work on your mental energy in a way that I feel like is really tangible. Because too often I hear people talking about what I call mindset light, where they're like, well, just do an affirmation and just do this and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and put your face on first thing and don't go to bed until 11, and people time is until 9 o'clock at night. And I am exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. Do I have to do this? Do I have to do all of these things? Or is it easier than we're making it? So let me tell you a little bit about your conscious mind. Did you know that your conscious mind is only in charge of your whole body and your mind 5% of the time? And if you think about it, you are sitting up, keeping your eyes open, breathing, and all of your organs are functioning without you having to think about it. So that's amazing, isn't it? If you really think about how much of our state is happening unconsciously without any prompting. So our conscious mind is only in charge 5% of the time, and willpower and discipline are part of the conscious mindset. Your subconscious mind, which is in charge the rest of the time, is basically where the fear center.
Uh-oh, she froze.
Technology requires power. Who knew? Okay, so where were we at? Your subconscious mind, your brain. Sometimes we call it your lizard brain. Basically, it's the brain that every child, every small child has. And if you spend time around small kids on a regular basis, you know the ones who have developed their fear response and the ones who haven't yet. And that fear response is really important because it keeps us alive when we're small or when we're impaired. So let's talk about where willpower and discipline and systems work really well. They work really well at the beginning of your goal and at the end of your goal. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You do have a conscious mind. You are able to use it. You are able to do higher level functioning. But it's really important for you to realize that that's going to be your turbo thruster to get you started, and that's going to be your booster kick at the end to finish it up. And all about it in the middle is going to be about your mindset and about your energy. Now, I don't want you to say her name, but we all know somebody who's either in this business or another business, particularly direct sales, who does everything right in terms of their skill set, but their energy is so wrong that they don't get any of the results they should get. In fact, they almost repel results. Don't say her name. You know who she is. I know who she is in my unit and among my adoptees. In fact, the main one who has been a good friend of mine is at T7 this month, and I couldn't be more delighted to see the back of her in my consultant group. Because if I have to take down one more negative thing she posts, I'm going to have to kick her. And she's my friend. So your energy, when you Now, I'm not a details person, so I don't remember the names of this, but there are about 5 or 6 levels of energies that we work on. Kim, are we wearing our same rings? Are we wearing our same? Got it. Did we get the same ring? I'm sorry, I'm a squirrel I'm like, what? A shiny object? I might be stuck again.
This is a ring. I took 3 of my Mary Kay.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
You love?
Can I wear it while I'm at your house?
You may.
Okay, fun. Yay.
So it's 2 diamond rings and a bar pin, and it's uniquely designed. Just
That's beautiful.
you.
She's got so many diamonds, she doesn't know what to do with them.
You know, they're only big and gaudy when there's someone else's.
My heart.
Bring some of your jewelry. We'll go design a ring together.
Okay. Okay, so energy.
Wow.
So there are a number of energy levels that you're working on. Now, when you are in a high state of either excitement, stress, or fear, your ability to make decisions and to use your conscious mind is reduced by 50%. So sometimes when you come home from seminar and you've got that high, your ability to make good decisions is really low. So, sometimes they say, oh, don't make your decision right away. Sit with it a little bit. You might need to do that. Conversely, when you get handed a steaming bag of crap by life, like I did yesterday with just some stuff that's going on in my extended family, you get derailed and you get in a stress state. And you can also not make great decisions in that state. You want to be in a medium state. There's the pre-wake up state. I don't remember what that's called. You can look at this all up. It's all science. It's there.
Makes everybody want to move to Idaho, doesn't it?
Okay.
So my question is this. You said coming back from seminar, we're on this great big high, and then we go to implement maybe all these ideas. Now, I've taught myself to maybe grab 1 or 2.
Right. And that's
and kind of roll from there.
Right. And that the reason for that, and maybe I will go sit on the living room couch. There's more light out there. Okay. I'm going to travel. All right.
No worries.
Computer will travel. Okay. So here's my rest of my office. Look at my fun wallpaper. Yay.
That's pretty fun. I'm thinking about painting my wall a teal color, like a really light colored teal.
Right. Really. And here's my fabulous living room. Yay.
White couches with children. Are you kidding me?
It's leather. I actually ordered it in gray and it was a clearance item. And they told me that the only one they had was east of the Mississippi. Then they told me how much it would cost to ship it to me. And I said, fine, give me the white one. So
it's beautiful.
I've had it 4 years. I've spilled more stuff on it than kids ever have. So
there you go.
It works out. Okay, so go ahead. So yeah, and what you're doing, what you've been taught to do, where you're only grabbing 1 or 2 ideas and trying to run with them, is exactly that. The reason why you're being told to do that is because it's implicit that your decision making is not, you don't have as much ability to make decisions about what you're going to implement and what you're going to not. So that's the idea, is only pick 1 or 2 things. So that's exactly the reason why that is recommended. So, so we were talking about the hot bag of crap that I got dropped in my lap. Now, don't worry, everything's fine. We just have a 21-year-old prodigal who's come back into our extended family, and it's stressful. It's kill the fatted calf and a keg of dynamite. So we'll see what we'll see. But he's home, he's back, he's safe, and we're happy. Okay. So where were we at? Tell me what I was talking about.
You started talking about a medium state of energy.
Okay, so you want to be in the medium state of energy, which is like a heightened awareness where you're able to function long term, because you really can't function at that high. You know, people spend a lot of time, especially in our industry, people spend a lot of time trying to make themselves high all the time. And I just listen to this and I'm listening to this and I'm listening to that. And I'm trying to, okay, oh my gosh, where is the cocaine? Oh my word. What are you selling? You know, I just I can't live there. It's not actually possible. You know, and I'm one of those terrible people who I'm like, I'd like to kick her and knock her over and see if she's still talking like that when I pick her up off the ground. So you can't live in that high state of excitement all the time. It's not possible. You will die very shortly, or you will burn out. And this is a marathon. You know, the Mary Kay way of life is a way of life. And life is not a year or 5 or 10 or even 25. It's 50, it's 80, it's all of it. And depending on how old you were when you came to Mary Kay, you may or may not be doing it into your 80s or 90s. I once was working out of town with some brides, and I was driving my career car. And at that time, my daughter, who is 10 now, she was 3. So we stopped at McDonald's because they have the combination of clean enough bathrooms, a play place, and food that is somewhat reasonable to eat, because you can always have an ice cream. If you don't like anything else, you can always have ice cream. But I got stopped by these 2 80-year-old ladies. Well, I think they were 80 plus. And they're like, oh, are you a sales director? And I'm like, yes, well, yes, I am. And they're like, well, we're consultants. And we have been consultants in Mary Kay since whatever year. I can't remember what year they said. And they said, and now that we're over 85, we don't do parties anymore. We just see our customers. And I was really inspired by that, because not everybody is going to be able to move up. Or if they move up, they may not always stay as a sales director, but you can really pull from a lot of age groups. And I loved the idea that they had been in Mary Kay almost since the beginning, and that they were still working with their own customers at that advanced level. And they just fawned all over me. It was so cute. It was like I was, you know, the traveling minister's wife or something like that. They never introduced themselves. They just like talked to me like we were old friends. And then, you know, I ate with them and my daughter played and whatever. So that was a total tangent, but that's about lifestyle. So we're talking about longevity. We're talking about being able to go on. And one of the things that willpower, that your systems are going to help you with, is creating a consistent level of activity. So because of the steaming bag of crap that I have been dealing with, and the emotional release that I had to deal with after having to come up and help with my nephew's situation and have a little righteous indignation at some people, and, you know, help his mom deal with some things that she couldn't handle on her own. I didn't want to work yesterday or today, but guess what? Because I have built in these systems where I know I do X, Y, and Z, where I have things to do that I have to tick off. I got quite a lot done, considering that I didn't feel like it, because my energy was really low. So I also did some energy work. I spent some time with some tools for my business coach. They're called Neuro Tools. I'm going to teach you a couple of really easy ones that you can use as pattern interrupts and to help bring your energy up when you're feeling low. And the energy that you create for yourself is what is most powerful. You know, it's important sometimes to listen to inspirational things and to hear about what other people are doing. But I find for myself too often I play the comparison game, and I get into the why can't I? well, if she can do it, why can't I? Well, it's apples and snakes.
That's kind of where you set me straight last week.
It's not a fair comparison. I mean, not apples to oranges, it's apples to snakes. So I don't listen to a ton of the inspirational and the motivational hotlines and things like that, because where it needs to come from is from me. It needs to come from my power, from my energy. It needs to come from my why and my, so I'm not saying don't do affirmations. Just don't try and do Gloria Mayfield's affirmation, because you're not Gloria Mayfield. Don't try and do, and you may even want to change the affirmations you're doing in terms of being so career specific, because let's be honest, how many of us grew up, wanting to be a Mary Kay sales director when we grew up? No, I didn't even know what a Mary Kay sales director was until I joined the company. And even then, I didn't think a whole lot of the women that I was around, because I was sort of a snob, for my first year. And I found when I had a vision board that was about how I wanted my life to be like, not my position, what I wanted my life to be like. And I started using that. And then I started making goals based on what would take me towards what I wanted my life to be like. All of a sudden, I have been moving past my set point. Now, I will tell you, in all fairness, I spent about 5 years not having a production goal for my unit. And currently I have not been doing my best ever. So you're not currently being trained by somebody who is like coming off their best year. I survived the last 2 years, and I survived because of what I'm talking to you about now, where I had a very strong why. And when life handed me 10 hours a week or less to work my business the last 2 years, because we had online kindergarten, it's as bad as it sounds. A fourth grader and a blind husband who is graduating from college, and then putting in my own, trying to put in my own meetings and just experimenting with the great social media, which I don't love. I'm going to keep doing it, but I don't love it. These tools have kept me from quitting. I know so many people who have either had to, even though there's a lot of people had their best year, I'm here to tell you that probably 65% of them had it through a fear response, because it was either that or lose their home. And so don't play the comparison game with yourself. Don't feel like, you are any less than because of where you are, because you are where you are because of what you know already, and you're still here. And that's what's important. Did you have a question, Kimberly?
I do have kind of like a question, comment that I'd like to, more of a question. So what's really resonating with me right now is, it's important for us to take time to, and I don't want to say retrain ourselves, because that's not the direction that I'm hearing at all, but it's more of just, you and I are both going through some physical therapy with some personal things going on. We have to take a stand down from the high energy workout levels that we've been doing, so that we can prepare our bodies and retrain our bodies that this is okay, and then move back up to that. So retraining our mind and our thinking, retraining our actions when we're working, retraining ourselves, learning a little bit more about social media, so at least we don't look like a dork. Like whatever, I'm great on Zoom, but I have my first real Facebook party this Saturday. I kept trying to talk her out of it, and I'm all, oh God. And she's like, no, if you want the party to be what you need it to be, because she's like, I promised you something in August. So, so I'm like, Myrra, and Melanie, of course, Melanie's going to be here tomorrow. She doesn't know that, but I'm going to talk to her about her Facebook parties too. But anyway, so it's just learning a new behavior so that you can get maybe the next step up. So it's not taking a step back. It's not anything. It's building on your already strong foundation
Yeah.
and getting you to the next level.
Yes, and you hit on a very important topic. So we just had the Olympics, the 2020 Olympics and 2021. And I love the Olympics. I didn't watch nearly as much as I usually do. However, what I'm inspired by are the athletes who are competing at their third and beyond games. The new young shiny things, the 14, 15, 16, 21-year-olds. Okay, great. Bully for you. Bring me the 36-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the veteran athletes, because let me tell you, they've had to learn how to do it again because they've been doing this for a while, and you don't bounce back as fast from an injury when you are over 35. You don't bounce back as fast when you're 40, and you certainly don't bounce back when you're 50 or above. You know, it's a whole different ball game. And so that's what I really want to give to you tonight, is whether you're new to this Mary Kay journey or whether you've been on it for a while, I want to give you some tools so that when you hit the point that I did in 2015, where you have accomplished everything you really thought you were able to accomplish, and all the dreams that you had have been done, you can figure out how to dream a little bigger, how to do a little bigger, and how to continue to do Mary Kay into another decade. So one of the things that you're going to want to do in order to do this is that you need to reprogram the stories that you tell yourself. And you need to change your energy to change your results. And when I talk about reprogramming your stories, when we don't hit, especially, I get this way a lot. I get this way around leadership and around career conference, and then in mid-May, because my birthday's in mid-May and I feel like it should all be happening by my birthday or else I'm out. We need to reprogram the stories that we tell ourselves, and change our energy around the results. And one of the most helpful ways that you can do it is you can tell it as if it's already past, because your subconscious mind holds on to past experiences. And when something happens, it's like, see, that's what happened to us in the past, and it's going to happen again. And that's not true. It's just not true. It doesn't have to happen the same time. And you know the reason what we base most of our subconscious, like the stories we tell ourselves, on experiences that happened to us one time before the age of 7. And even if you can quote more recent things, if you really boil it down and you really sit with it and you peel back the layers of the stories you tell yourself, particularly the ones you tell yourself over and over again, you'll find that the origin of that is from your childhood. And that's your inner child talking, your inner child being scared. So reprogram the stories you tell yourself. The other thing that's really important is celebrating small wins. My stepdad was an Olympic quality college high jumper in the 70s. He went to the University of Texas at Austin, and he had an Olympic qualifying jump at the trials in which he broke his foot and he did not compete. Now, it was the 1980 Olympics, and so the US actually didn't go to that Olympic that year. So he didn't really miss a chance. It felt like a chance missed at the time. But that's all to say that when he was the track coach at my high school, or was he the high jumping coach at my high school, he would teach everybody. Now, I didn't do track, but I was a track manager, so I would watch him out there. And he would teach everybody who was learning how to high jump to approach the same way, whether they were jumping over the bar that was right at the same level as the mat, or whether they were doing a 4, 5, or 6 foot jump. And the way that you do, you do high jump. And if you know anything about track and sport or track and field, you know that you've got to run up, you got to run real fast, and you've got to kind of flip your body over the bar. And you've also got to be really careful not to hook your feet on the bar when you come over. And that's what most people do that disqualifies them. So you're going to need to celebrate some small wins because you might have some skills-based things that you need to take care of. So when you go over the high jump bar and you only are clearing the mat, I want you to just dance and sing and shout about that. When you are only $5 more than your personal best has been before, I want you to dance and sing and shout about that, because refusing to celebrate the small victories reinforces the idea that we are not enough. It reinforces the negative self-talk. And one of the other things you'll want to do is to learn how to acknowledge what you are feeling without owning it. The difference is that when I'm feeling bad about myself and I say, oh, I always do that, and this and that, I can't stand it when I do that. Versus, I'm feeling this today. I'm feeling slow. I'm feeling unconfident. I'm feeling these things, so that you're experiencing it. You don't own it. Does that make sense?
Acknowledging your feelings instead of
acknowledge your
getting crazy about it.
feelings. Assess yourself without judgment. And just like you said, you can't judge people by maybe the clothes they're wearing, how they look, because what if they just had to walk to get gas for 5 miles down a deserted road? And Amanda, I'm so glad that you said that you needed to hear all of this. This is what my prayer was for you. So let's talk about some neuro tools. Let's get practical. Okay, this might be a little bit harder because I am holding my phone. I don't know where all my stuff is. And half the power in my house is on, but the other half is not. That's super weird. And my internet is still down. So I'm thinking that there must have been something big going on outside. Okay, so let's talk about neuro tools. So this is my favorite one, and I was actually using this. I gave this one to my niece, who is the older sister of my sweet prodigal nephew, and it was bubble popping. And this is my new favorite one. So I want you to, for this neuro tool, you need to imagine that there are pink bubbles all around you, and that these bubbles all have magnets in them. And these magnets attract negative energy. They attract your negative thoughts. They attract what you're feeling. So just take a minute and picture your bubbles. You've got your magnets in them, and it's drawing all your negative energy out. Okay. And guess what you're going to do now? You're going to pop them. Pop, 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 pop. When you pop bubbles, what happens? They disappear. So that's a fun thing that you can do. In fact, that's something that I did a couple of times over the last 24 hours as I was feeling overwhelmed by a particular problem that was facing me. The next thing, oh, here come all my children. Okay, so the next thing is a finger roll. This is one that can help get your energy up if you're feeling low energy before something where you need better energy. So you're going to do a finger roll. You're going to say, I can, I will, I am, yes. And you can do any 3 phrases you need, I'm enough, whatever you need to do. Just I can, I will, I am, yes. And the squeezing, the physical sensation, the touching really helps. Now, how many of you guys have heard of tapping? Have you heard about how tapping will help? Okay, so there's a little bit more. I don't have a lot of research a lot of science stuff to tell you about this, but what I will tell you is that it can be part of a pattern interrupt, and it can just be part of something that those physical rituals really do help center you, just like, bowing your head and closing your eyes before you pray does. It just helps physically centering you. Now, the other one that I can teach you that you can use anywhere, anytime, even when you're driving, is for you to take your head and tilt it back like this, And close your eyes for just 15 seconds and take 2 deep breaths in. And I don't remember what the chemical is. Say hi. Can you say hi to my friends?
Hi.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, that's Everett. He's 6. That changes your energy. The chemical release it releases something like dopamine that makes you immediately feel calm, safe, and happy. So those are the 3 main things that you can do that are just really practical nuts and bolts thing that can help you. And then a core check. Just check in with yourself periodically and ask yourself, what's the energy I'm projecting right now? And just ask yourself. You don't have to, don't say, oh, I hate it when I do that. Just say, what's happening right now? Why is it happening? What happened right before my energy shifted? So, okay, still not connected to the internet. Amazing. Okay. And we talked about telling your story if it's in the past. Okay. All right. Now, does anybody have any questions?
No, but we are on a 15-minute countdown, so.
Okay, great. All right, so that's everything I have for you. Sorry it took a little bit longer. Feel free, I'm gonna email you a video that I made for my unit that has those short neuro tools so that you can listen to it again. It's a 6-minute video, and I'll make sure that Kimberly has it. So.
You're awesome. That was awesome. I really had no idea what to expect. I just knew it was going to be awesome. So great.
Yeah,
Really
this
calm,
was
get
very
excited.
useful, very helpful.
I think what I like is I'm so quick to judge myself when I get into a situation. And I'm pretty sure you heard that when I called you last week, and I was kind of like all caught up in my situation, if you will. And you're so at peace when you just offer your your direction for me. And it's a direction that I know that you're offering yourself. It's not like something that you just picked out and like, oh, this will be great for Kimberly. It's like I could tell that it was something that you practiced for you, because it came so naturally and it came so like eloquently out, when you said it. And again, if you hear things from a friend and you don't hear it with love and respect, then go back and check what's inside you. Or, they always say never take advice from somebody you wouldn't be willing to trade places with. So,
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I go with the kids and all the jazz that you got going on, but
Don't go back. Don't go back.
I could do that, but I'm going to just say thank you. I'm going to shut off the recording now. So thank you. Wave everybody.
Yeah, thank you.